Let me tell you one story about something I learned. Let me tell you one story about something I learned. Yo.
Gonna hit you hard with the fast and the fury. Make your mouth drop like Jordan and Julie. Stepping on the court, dog, arm dangerous. Getting the score like Bobby De Niro. Don't approach us like no Gondoliero. Leave you looking like Eddie Norton. Straw in your word like Marvel Martian. Wanna know why? The God sent we. Cause your belly full and your mind empty. All sound alike on BET. How many naked girls do you see? Like Miss Awalad, me can't believe my eyes. Won't stop rocking till the boat capsize. In the holy water, washing off your disguise. Always go back to your dirty pig style. Damn big, you left them hypnotized.
Soldiers dance in the middle of the night, smoking trees and chilling with wife. Fridge got food and the kids shit tight. I got a big dog and him off at night. Soldiers dance in the middle of the night, smoking trees and chilling with wife. Fridge got food and the kids shit tight. I got a big dog and him off at night.
Walk a fine line like a high wire act. Speaking my mind on the way I see rap. Some of y'all spit, dog, no need for that. Times might be hard and you want the money sack. Better live in condition.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to another edition of the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45, and I am sort of live and direct. It's been a crazy weekend. Shout out to all them, everybody that love motorcycles. Shout out to all the subscribers. Shout out to all the folks that give us all these great feedback and loving what we're doing. We're going to continue. Shout out to the folks all around the world. I mean, we got folks in the USA, obviously. We got folks in the UK. We got folks in Nigeria. We got folks in Kenya. We got folks in Australia. So definitely shout out to everyone that's tuning in and checking out this thing right here that we're doing called B4evaKool. My name is Rex45, if I didn't say that already. We get into it because it's been a crazy weekend if you're a motorcycle fan. If you race a motorcycle and you happen to be at a track this weekend, it's crazy. So, before I get into the global stuff, let's get into what happened. Because, for the last few episodes I've been talking about, I'm going back into racing. Not like I left, but I moved and, you got to settle in and do all these things. And unfortunately, racing is not at the forefront when you're doing that. You got to get settled in before you can do that. So I was able to get out this past weekend at Roebelin, which is, one of my favorite tracks. It's one of the tracks that when I decided to do some regional stuff and some regional stuff, it was one of the first tracks I came to from racing at Loudon. I was at Homestead before that, and maybe a couple of, I don't know if I did track days yet or not. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was one of the first tracks I went to. And when I went there, it was like 45, 46 degrees and rainy. And it was cold. And I didn't appreciate it in the least bit. And I sucked it up. I rode, this is 2021, and I was freezing. My hand was cold. It was just cold, period. And the thing about that race, after it was done, while I was doing it beforehand, obviously, I didn't even have this idea. But once I completed that race, I realized I could do any race after that. Because, there's photos on social media and stuff from that race. And you can see my hands. They're just like hanging on the handlebars because they're frozen. So it's just gas, and I'm just squeezing, the throttle just to keep it in place or whatever the case may be, because my fingers were done. And that goes to the level of, what you can put your body through, what your body can tolerate and stuff like that. And, I've jacked myself up racing. So I know more pain than just having my hands really cold. So it was easier to fight through. But I was not a fan of racing in the cold before that. But now it's just kind of like, it doesn't matter if it's rain, if it's cold, it doesn't matter. You just go out there and do it. So I went out and this past weekend and raced. and the weather was beautiful. It wasn't like Jersey. Shout out to all the Motor America riders and fans that did that thing up there, because it's crazy. So weather was beautiful. It was nice to be on the bike again. Still got some bike issues that I got to deal with, so it's not completely where I want it to be. I will say I put some GP cartridges in the front of on my bike. Yeah, well, it's the front, so I have to say I like them a lot. I wasn't sure. It didn't, the installation. Well, not so much the installation, but getting everything sorted out didn't go according to plan. So I was already kind of not really necessarily 100% feeling the forks, not necessarily because of the forks themselves, but just dealing with getting the right ones and going through what I had to go through to just sort it out. And it just seemed like it took forever to get it sorted out, but partly I was moving, so that also played a part in it. But I have to say, after running this weekend, that's the highlight. Just compared to the stock forks, that's the highlight. The bike felt like it was on rails. I'm a big fan of Ducati, and it's probably the most mileage I have on bikes that I've been riding. And my Ducatis are it's like an extension of me. So, and even the KTM, even my 2015 KTM, that took some getting used to. It still feels a bit stiff. This 2022, even before, I felt good on it. I felt really good on the bike, but now after having the forks, the front just it if I think it does it. It felt really good, so I'm excited about that. Came away with a couple of first places, so excited about that. It's always nice to be on the top spot of the podium as well. So I'm looking forward to Daytona coming up in a couple of months. And I wasn't really looking to fight for any regional titles this year, but somehow I found myself up front. So, there's a couple of that, if I got to go to Daytona, and I'll try my best. I always try my best at all the tracks anyway. And even though, looking at points and stuff like that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not that far off. So, it's competitive, but honestly, at this point, it's the end of the season. It's the last race of the year. It's, not to say I'm very competitive. But I wasn't concerned about, titles or anything like that. I was just riding just to get some timing, because I knew what was happening and stuff like that. So it's kind of after this weekend and doing the show now, it's kind of I have, I'm in the top 5 in a couple of regions. So I'm excited at that, and I'll try to do my best at Daytona. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. My body overall felt pretty good, so I'm happy with the training I've been doing, and it's only been about a month of training. But I mean, it's not like I've been working out forever, so I'm happy with it. There's still probably some more stretching I need to do. There's a lot of right turns at Roebling, so the right side of my body felt a little bit more. But overall, I feel pretty good. And I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, the bike is not 100%. I got some stuff I have to do to sort out, but overall, I'm very excited with that. So I'm looking forward to Daytona next month. So while racing and being at the track and traveling and I have to say, traveling from Florida to Georgia obviously is a lot easier than traveling from Boston to Georgia, or Boston to Daytona, or whatever the case may be, which is what I was doing up until this point. So I'm that part of it I'm looking forward to. Like I've said on the show, I'm planning to do at least I'm planning to do Loudon at least once a year. So I know I'm going to make that drive up at least once a year, and Jersey I probably do once a year, but everything else is within relatively reasonable driving time. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping to do some West Coast racing as well. So obviously that's going to be a little bit different, but it is what it is. But being able to be down here and get to tracks that are a lot closer to me now, that I've wanted to race at, I'm looking forward to next year and what tracks I get to. So overall, that was pretty good. while keeping it in the U.S., well, let's talk about Motor America a little bit. First of all, shout out to Eli Block for winning his first two Motor America races. We had him on the show on last season's episode. He mentioned, he had some Motor America races he wanted to get into, and he went to Jersey and did his thing. So shout out to him for that. It's not an easy road. He's one of these guys. He's like Mesa in a sense. Talented riders, very talented riders. But not every rider gets the funding, and motorcycle racing is very expensive. And there's only so many teams, but there's a lot of riders. So usually kind of funding your own project. 9 times out of 10, even at the top level, obviously you're still funding your own project in a sense through sponsors and whatever else, right? So because motorcycle racing, car racing is different than, NBA and baseball and soccer. I mean, football is cutthroat, so I can't, I'll leave football alone for right now. But it is very different. So it's very hard to, bikes, people, friends and family and support, and getting to that level and trying to get there. And it's very difficult when you're a rider and you have the skill sets to run with the national guys, maybe even international folks, and for funding, you can't get there, and that's for a lot of people in this world. So it is what it is. But shout out to him for doing that. I hope teams saw what he did and offer him something, because that's huge. Shout out to Kayla as well, because she got on the podium as well on the super sport class. She's 16, fast rider. Won international races as well. So it's huge for these American kids. You know what I mean? So, and it was I wasn't there. Shout out to TJ. He has a lot of images on his social media pages. A lot of rain. So it's not, we race in any condition just about, but you like it when it's sunny and maybe 75, 80, not too hot, none of that stuff. So that part was crazy. I think there's like one more round or maybe a couple more rounds of Motor America before the season is over and until next year. But, some young riders doing their thing. I can go on and on, but, the show is only so long. So let's touch on MotoGP. Bezecchi. I mean, what can I say? It's unfortunate what happened in the sprint race, because he had the pace to win that race as well. And the thing about there's whatever. I know there's going to be comments, so it is what it is. But I'm going to speak my mind anyway. They're riders that know their tracks, and they're fast at the tracks that they know. And then, then these same riders will go to different tracks and they're not as quick. So for MotoGP, for Bezecchi to win the second race, like 9 seconds ahead of everybody on a track that no one has ridden on from MotoGP before, or maybe they have in some other form, but not in MotoGP. It's the first time in India. And to be that far ahead, that's a whole different skill set right there, because you have to learn the track, and you got to be quick. And some riders got exposed with not knowing the track as well. That it's a natural instinct, a natural feel. It is what it is. You'll see some riders that come to new tracks, and they just quick all the time. And then other people like myself, it takes a while to get up to speed and learn the track. So the fact that, he's second year in MotoGP, he's third in the championship. He went to a new track and dominated. If that incident didn't happen in the sprint, he finished fifth, and I think he fell all the way back to like 15th or something like that. To do that, to be a second year guy, to also, knowing you could have gone to Pramac, taking that back seat to your one of your academy mates and letting them get that ride. That's huge. So shout out to him. He's a force. Listening to the press conference, someone said he's like Rossi, and he doubted it. He not even close, because he mentioned Rossi won more races, but at his age, at the same age Bezecchi's at. So no, but the fact that he has a guy like that in this corner, it's one of those things where it's like the Jackson 5 or 6, right? Michael Jackson is the way he is because he had his 5 older brothers, sisters, to just feed off of while they were doing their thing. Obviously, Bezecchi didn't get to Rossi at 5 years old or wasn't born into the family, but he's one of the younger guys in the academy. You look at Morbidelli, you look at Pecco, and then you look at Bez, right? I mean, there's other riders that's left the academy. I don't know why they've left or whatever the case may be, but they're doing their thing, and they're still elite riders. And so you see these riders that they train together. I think just being one of the younger ones and seeing all of that, and seeing these other riders, including Rossi, already sorted out a lot of things. He soaked it up, and he might just be a natural talent, or he just listens and learns really fast. But he figured that track out, and he was ghost on those guys. It's unfortunate that Pecco had crashed out, and because there's his title points. I'm sure I don't know why he crashed, so I can't really say. I don't know if it's pressure from trying to just catch Bez. Maybe he should have just thought about sitting in second place and just ride it out. Or as a rider, you feel you can chase. In the races, I was, there were other classes in my races, and I was trying to keep up with those guys. I'm on a 42 horsepower. These guys are on 80 plus horsepower, lightweight bikes, and I was trying to catch them because that's as a rider, as a racer, you it doesn't matter, right? You'll do everything in your power to try to catch somebody. So it could have been something like that why he crashed out. It's not a lot of crashes like last season, which is the good part. At some point, somebody's gonna, smarter than me, is gonna say, "Hey, man, no more crashes for the rest of the season if you want this thing." Figure out your battles. If you're battling and you feel you got it and you got more pace than somebody, it's one thing. If you're looking for bragging rights or whatever the case may be, maybe not today. And that was unfortunate. Marquez, some other riders crashed out. So crazy. Jack Miller, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's I don't know what's going on. But the guy came out the gate doing really well, helped them sort out the KTM to put it to a different level, and he's been struggling a little bit ever since. And I'm not one for rumors, but if Pedro's coming into MotoGP and they haven't announced who's losing the seat yet, he maybe it's just how he feels. Maybe it's a Jordan Poole type of thing with the Warriors. Just don't like how he got treated, and he just if you're putting your life on the line, because these guys are at that level, at any level when you're on a motorcycle, right? And an organization that you work for, you don't feel they're 100% behind you, got your back. You may take a lesser risk as a rider. You may take less chances as a rider, or just not feeling the part. So I don't know if it's something like that, because it seems like he started out the gate and just been going backwards, and that's not normally Jack Miller's style. So that's a little weird. That Miller hasn't really shown potential, and it seems like the Brads of the world and other folks are having a little bit better time than that. So I hope it's nothing like that, but it is unfortunate to see Alex Marquez broke some ribs. That's unfortunate. I don't know if he's going to be out for the next round because there's going to be rounds and on top of rounds. I think we got like 6 rounds left. They're already going to be in Japan coming up. So that's unfortunate. It was good to see Joan Mir ride better. The Yamaha is probably getting a better feel on the Yamaha. It's Yamaha on the Honda. Either way on the Honda. So it was good to see that as well. Crazy weekend. Fabio on the podium. That has to give you a little bit boost. And again, one of those situations where it's a new track. And here's another rider, I think like Bez, and where Fabio has more of an inferior bike, still was able to ride and get on the podium. I think if everyone was at this track before and knew this track, I don't think it would have been the same story for Yamaha. But again, it's kind of, at that level, the ones that can adapt quickly, regardless of the conditions, can take advantage of that situation. And I think for Quartararo, that helped. Also gives him a boost, also gives his Yamaha a boost, and all around. So, third place, but that could be the difference to get them sorted out. Now, they're going to be in their home round in Japan. So, let's see what happens. But, they have a road that they have to go down. So, it seems like the Aprilias, They struggled the whole weekend overall, I think, and that's unfortunate. Again, I don't know if it's a matter of the bikes or if it's a matter of just the riders, new track. It definitely showed overall, I think, for the riders. So that's MotoGP, Moto2. Wow. Crazy, right? I feel bad for Aaron Canet. He's crashed out a lot. The guy probably deserves to be in MotoGP, and got looked over. I got to assume there's some animosity there because of his tattoos. He got looked over. He's still in Moto2 riding, and he crashes a lot, and it's not good for your own psyche. It's not good for the team that you're working for. It's just not a good look. So he's a talented rider. I'm rooting for the guy. I hope he just crashes a lot less. And they're riding on the limits for X amount of laps. Whatever it is, 23 laps, 22 laps, 27 laps, whatever it is, they're riding on the limit the whole time. So mistakes are easy to make. A lot of them do make mistakes. They usually can recover from it and not crash out. But a lot of these guys are always close to crashing out, and women close to crashing out. Because I say you're riding at the limit. That's the only way to be, because if not, someone else is going to ride to the limit and beat you. So I don't know if I was hoping Jake Dixon would have had more for Pedro. I was hoping Celestine would have had more for Pedro, but that's not happening yet. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that I hope so. So it seems with like 6 rounds to go, I don't know if Pedro's going to run away with it, but at the moment, people are trying, but it's not close. So it is what it is. But it was beautiful to watch. This World Superbike, there's so much to talk about there. Alvaro Bautista crashing out in the first race. Rinaldi winning the first race. Man, dude, you should have been winning them. You should have been top 1, 2, 3 or top 1, 2, 3, 4. I think if he was top 1, 2, 3, 4 from the beginning of the season, I think he would have got a seat. Kept a seat for next year. Who knows where he's going to go? Although I think he might go to Yamaha because there's not a lot of seats open. So I think he might find a Yamaha. Scott Redden, he's going to Bonovo team. Still BMW. So it is what it is there. So at least he's still in World Superbike and gets to race. Still has a competitive bike underneath him. He's gonna be teammates with Gerloff, who I'm a big fan of, and who's been doing fairly well, more consistent on the BMW, I think, than any of the other riders at the moment. Let's see what happens with when Top Rock gets there next year, and let's see what happens. Nikolai Buliga, I have to say, he was after watching this weekend. Yeah, he deserves that factory seat in in World Superbike. He does because he's beating these guys easily. He's doing the same thing Alvaro is doing, and so he deserves that. Hopefully, when he gets there, he'll run out front as well because it's not always easy moving up a class. So some riders sort it out real quick. Other riders, it takes a little bit longer. So it's really who's finishing second and third at this point, and fourth and fifth. If he keeps riding the way he's riding, he's going to ride until the end of the season and just continue winning that title. So there's your recap. My name is Rex45. It's the B4evaKool podcast. Shout out to all the sponsors: GoPro, Agio, Engine Ice, Motul, Smoking Rhymes, Hamden Yard. My name is Rex45. Peace.